The Roman Empire? A huge mix of different people, places they conquered, and battles they fought. The emperors were like the captains of this giant ship, with the power to change the lives of millions. Some emperors were mean and only cared about fighting. Their names remembered for all the wrong reasons, but some emperors were wise and kind, and they made the Roman Empire a better place. One of these good emperors was Vespasian. He didn't rule for a very long time, but he changed Rome in big ways. When he became emperor, the Roman Empire was falling apart after a civil war. But Vespasian was a smart leader, and he knew how to fix things. He brought peace back to Rome, made sure everyone had enough money, and started a time called the Pax Romana, which means Roman peace. Vespasian wasn't born into a rich and powerful family, and he didn't become emperor easily. He had to work hard, fight in many battles, and make smart decisions to become the leader of Rome. He wasn't a daydreamer, he was a doer. He knew what people needed, and he knew how to make the Roman Empire strong. This is the story of Vespasian, the emperor who came from a small town and became the hero who brought back Rome's golden age. It was the year 9 AD. In the Sabine Hills, which are like small mountains in the middle of Italy, a baby boy was born. This baby would grow up to rule the world as we knew it back then. His name was Titus Flavius Vespasianus, but everyone would call him Vespasian. Vespasian's family wasn't poor, but they weren't rich and powerful either. They were part of the equestrian order, which was like a middle class, not as fancy as the patrician families who were like the politicians of their time. Vespasian's dad was a tax collector. It was a good job, but it didn't make him famous or powerful. Even though they weren't super rich, Vespasian's parents knew that getting a good education was important, so he learned about Roman traditions, how to speak and write well, and how to think about big ideas. But young Vespasian was really good at being a soldier. He was a natural leader, he knew how to plan for battles, and he was very brave. It seemed like he was meant to be on the battlefield, not stuck in a classroom. Vespasian's life as a soldier began in Germania, a place with lots of forests. He started as a military tribune, which means he was like a leader in training. He learned how to fight against the strong Germanic tribes. Everyone noticed how brave and smart he was, and he became more important in the Roman army. When Emperor Claudius decided to attack Britain in 43 AD, Vespasian was a key part of the invasion. He led his soldiers through dangerous lands and against fierce warriors, winning battle after battle. He brought back lots of riches to Rome, making him even more popular. Because he was so successful in battles, he was given important jobs in the government too. He became a quaestor, which meant he was in charge of money for different parts of the Roman Empire. Later he became the governor of Africa, where he showed everyone that he was a fair and organized leader. But it was his campaign in Judea that made Vespasian famous as a brilliant military leader. There was a big rebellion happening in Judea, and Vespasian was sent to stop it. He and his legions fought hard in a long and difficult campaign. In the end, they surrounded the city of Jerusalem and destroyed it in the year 70 AD. It was a brutal victory, but it showed everyone that Vespasian knew how to win wars and that he would do whatever it took to keep the Roman Empire strong. The year 69 AD started with the Roman Empire in big trouble. Emperor Nero, who was a very selfish and mean ruler, had lost his power and killed himself. With no one in charge, everything became chaotic. 4 different men tried to become the new emperor, but they all failed quickly. First came Galba, an old senator, but someone killed him. Then came Otho, who was fancy but not a good leader, and he died in a battle. Next was Vitellius, a mean and greedy man, but he was also defeated quickly. The Roman Empire was falling apart. Roman soldiers were fighting each other, cities were destroyed, and it seemed like the once mighty empire was finished. But in the middle of all this chaos, a glimmer of hope appeared in a surprising place: the eastern provinces. Vespasian, who was far away fighting battles and known for being a strong leader, was watching everything very closely. He knew that the Roman Empire needed a strong leader to fix all the problems. He believed it was his time to step up. The year of the 4 emperors was full of chaos. Vespasian, who was in Judea, decided to do something brave. He declared himself the new emperor. His loyal soldiers supported him completely. Now the Roman Empire had a 5th emperor in just 1 year, and this one seemed different. Vespasian didn't waste any time. He left his son Titus in charge of Jerusalem and sailed towards Rome. He made smart alliances and won important battles along the way. His biggest opponent, Vitellius, was no match for Vespasian's military skills. The final battle took place in Rome. It was a bloody fight, but Vespasian's army crushed Vitellius's soldiers. Vitellius, who had been a terrible emperor, was captured and killed. With all his enemies defeated, Vespasian became the new emperor of Rome. He wasn't a cruel tyrant who took power by force. He was seen as a hero who saved Rome from destruction. The Senate, who were the lawmakers of Rome, were so relieved to have a strong leader that they officially made him emperor. This was the beginning of the Flavian dynasty, which meant that Vespasian's family would rule Rome. Vespasian inherited an empire that was in ruins. The treasury, which is where they kept all the money, was empty because of bad decisions and the civil war. Vespasian was a practical man, and he knew that fixing the economy was the most important thing to do. He made big changes to how money was collected and spent. Some people liked these changes and some didn't, but they were all meant to make Rome wealthy again. Rich people who weren't paying their taxes were forced to pay. He even created new taxes, like the funny-sounding urine tax on public toilets, which made people laugh and complain at the same time. But Vespasian wasn't greedy. He knew that he needed to use the money to make Rome better and to keep people happy. He started big building projects, which created jobs and showed everyone that Rome was strong again. And very importantly, he paid his soldiers well, which ensured that they would stay loyal and protect the empire. Vespasian had brought financial stability back to Rome. Now he wanted to make the empire beautiful and powerful again. During his reign, there was a lot of construction happening all across the Roman world. His most ambitious project was the Colosseum, a giant arena that would become a symbol of Rome's power and entertainment. It was built where Nero, the bad emperor, had his own private lake. The Colosseum was so big that it could fit more than 50,000 people. People would go there to watch gladiators fight, pretend sea battles, and even public executions. But Vespasian didn't just build things for entertainment. He also rebuilt the temple of Jupiter Capitolinus, which was a very important temple that had been destroyed during the Civil War. He also ordered the construction of new roads, aqueducts, which brought water to the cities, and public baths. These projects made life better for everyone and showed that Rome was prosperous again. In the year 79 AD, after 10 years of ruling, Emperor Vespasian became very sick. As he was dying, he is said to have joked, "Oh dear, I think I'm becoming a god." It was a funny thing to say, especially because Vespasian was known for being humble and not taking himself too seriously. Even though he didn't rule for a long time, he changed the Roman Empire for the better. When he became emperor, Rome was about to collapse, but he used his military skills, political smarts, and practical thinking to bring peace and prosperity back. He fixed the economy, built amazing things, and made the government work better. Most importantly, he gave people hope. He showed them that even after a terrible civil war, the Roman Empire could be strong and successful again. Today we remember Emperor Vespasian not as a conqueror or a tyrant, but as a builder, a reformer, and a practical leader. He was a simple man, known for his humor, his careful spending, and his understanding of what people needed. Unlike many emperors before him, Vespasian didn't say he was a god or act like he was better than everyone else. He was, in many ways, a citizen emperor, a man who came from ordinary beginnings and became a great leader because he worked hard and deserved it. We can still see his legacy today in the Colosseum, in the way the Roman government worked, and in the stories of the people who lived during his time. They remembered him as a fair and effective leader who brought peace and prosperity. Vespasian, the emperor who came from humble beginnings, showed the world that true greatness comes from serving others and making the world a better place.